All right, so these are the 3 skills that are responsible for creating ridiculous amounts of wealth. Now, I learned these skills the hard way by failing at 9 different businesses from the ages of 18 to 26 years old. And since then, I've done over $5 million in sales as an entrepreneur. If you're still looking to make your first $1, $2, $3, $4, or $5 million as an entrepreneur, then this is a must-watch video for you, because these are the skills that are gonna help you become filthy rich. So the first skill is sales. There's a phrase that goes like this: sales cures all. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how great your business idea is. It doesn't matter how great your processes are. It doesn't matter if you have the best product. If you cannot predictably sell and generate revenue, then you're never going to be as successful as you can be. Early on, when I was starting my businesses at the age of 18 years old, I would get so caught up in the specifics of the business, of the how to operate and where to put this and how to do this. I remember running my landscaping business and getting so caught up in just the billing and the invoicing and the keeping track of receipts. Now, granted, I was an 18-year-old kid. I didn't know that, hey, just hire an accountant or a bookkeeper for a couple $100s a month, and you never have to think about it again. You literally just hand them the stack of paper and the stack of receipts, and that's their expertise. And I could go out there and continue to get clients. Instead, I would get confused and overwhelmed trying to do things in the business that I didn't really know how to do, and that took me away from time from selling and getting more customers, and eventually it led to me stopping doing that business. Now, you may say, hey, I suck at sales, or I don't like talking to people. Look, at the end of the day, there's a huge misconception about what sales actually is. Sales is not being like a sleazy person trying to talk someone into or convince someone into something that they don't want to do. Sales is simply solving a problem. And so if you have someone that has a problem, let's go with that landscaping analogy, right? When I used to have the landscaping business. Well, there were people out there that were busy at work, and when they'd come home from work, they wanted to relax. The problem was they didn't want to go out there and mow their lawn, and they just wanted to hang out. And so I had the solution, right? The solution, which was, hey, I'll mow your lawn for you. So if you're trying to convince someone of something they don't want, yeah, well then you shouldn't do that, or you're talking to the wrong person. If you get in the mindset of just, how do I find people that have a problem? How do I find people that have a need that can match up with my service or my solution? Then that's really what sales is. It's solving problems. And at the end of the day, there is an art and a strategy to model when it comes to sales. So initially, I was terrible at sales, and I still really don't consider myself a great salesperson. I think I'm a good salesperson, but most entrepreneurs, what they will do is they will just hire someone. If you suck at sales and that's not your strength, and your strength is operations, then double down on what you're good at and just hire someone that sales comes natural to them. Now, you may say, hey, well, I can't afford to hire a salesperson. Well, then now you get to be good at that, right? You have to decide, okay, are you gonna let that hold you back and not be able to grow your business and achieve your goals and dreams because you're not good at sales? Or are you gonna be resourceful and figure out a way to overcome that? So I read sales books, I went to sales trainings, and I did all sort of things to be able to develop and hone that skill set. And at the end of the day, a lot of things in business is just cutting your teeth and just failing forward. So going out there and totally bombing and botching it. I remember times of just sweating profusely in sales meetings with clients, just feeling completely nervous and awkward and terrified. But fast forward 15 years later, and none of that matters. So the second skill that you need to develop is marketing. There's another phrase that goes, the best marketer wins. Look, it's not about having the best product. I want you to think about this for a moment, because I've met so many entrepreneurs where they're so focused on the quality of their product and the fulfillment, which is important, but it doesn't matter how good your product or service is if you can't get in front of enough people that eventually will actually buy it. Think about McDonald's. Is McDonald's the best quality food? No, McDonald's has terrible food. Why has McDonald's become so successful? Because they have become masterful at marketing to two different people. Number one, customers to get them to buy their food. Number two, potential franchise owners. So they got really good at marketing their opportunity, and that's why they've grown into the biggest, because they've mastered marketing. And one of the ways that I learned this was that I was starting to see people that I considered to be, I don't want to say less intelligent, but they just didn't seem to have their shit together, but somehow they were building these really successful, epic businesses. And what I learned was it was because they got really good at marketing. They got really good at being able to get their messaging out or get their product or their branding in front of potential clients and customers. And when you do that, that will 100% make you a lot of money. So before we get to the third skill, I'm gonna give you a bonus one. And so this one is really important, right? Because if you want to scale a business and not just be a lone wolf or a solopreneur, this is incredibly important. And it's the ability to build systems, right? So at the end of the day, let's say you start generating sales, you're great at marketing, your business is growing and growing and growing. Well, at some point, your business will outgrow you, and there's only so much you can do, right? There's only so many hours in a day that you can work. And the way that you are gonna maximize your return and make the most amount of money as possible is building systems and processes that are documented and that create efficiency that you can scale on, right? So as an example, like if you're working out of a spreadsheet or just winging who you're reaching out to, well, maybe having a process in a CRM system is what's going to help you scale and bring in another person on your team and they can follow that process or system. But at the end of the day, businesses scale on processes and systems. So there are two keys to this. Number one is that your business has to produce revenue without you. If your business is 100% dependent on you to produce revenue, then you do not have a scalable business. Because if you go on vacation, if you go on a trip, if you get sick, then all of a sudden you lose all of your momentum in your business. So it's key to develop people on your team and be able to produce revenue while you're not there in your business. The second part of that, which is what I just said, which is building a team. So in order to start scaling, you have to get good at hiring and training and building a team around you. There's a phrase, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. All right, skill number 3 is reinvesting your money. So in order to really become wealthy, to become rich, and to maximize the amount of money that you can create as an entrepreneur, you've got to become a master at figuring out where to allocate your resources. Where do you put your money so that you can exponentially grow? Now, there's all sorts of people out there that'll tell you to invest in the stock market and invest in real estate and invest in crypto and all of those different things. And I think having some money diversified is probably a good idea and a good strategy. And at the end of the day, like, you want to have access to money. But as an entrepreneur, one of the best places to invest your money is back into your business. And there are a couple of different ways that looks like. Number one, it's reinvesting in yourself. So hiring coaches, hiring consultants, joining masterminds, doing things that expand your knowledge so that you can show up as a more effective and better leader to then be able to grow and scale your business. The second part of that is reinvesting back in your business and spending more money in marketing and hiring a team. As you can see, all of these skills, they progressively layer on top of each other. And there are entrepreneurs out there that they start making money and they pull all of this money out of their business. They're not reinvesting in their business. And so their business doesn't grow and it doesn't scale. And your ability to step through that kind of terror barrier and that fear of, oh man, I just started making more money. Am I really going to pour that money back into the business? Well, you don't have to. You don't have to scale your business. But if you want to scale, that is going to be something that is required. So speaking of education and reinvesting, there are actually 2 books that have dramatically helped me in my business and going from $0 to more than a 7-figure business. And in this video, you can check out those 2 books, what they are, what I learned, and how you can apply them to building your wealth.